cannot accept my body to be the ultimate reality because it's going to die. It suffers, it goes through pain, it acquires diseases, and eventually it dies. Now, there is something inside me that tells me I am not this. I am the watcher. I am watching the body suffering. If I can watch everything, perhaps I'm also watching death. If I'm also watching death, then how can I die? Now, these have been, we have regarded these as philosophical questions because we did not have a scientific framework through which we can understand this. Question of life, question of death, question of birth, question of reincarnation have all been philosophical questions. But philosophically, think about it. If death is real, that means you are experiencing death. Otherwise, how can it be real? Because if something is real, you have to experience it. Now, if you can experience death, then you are still alive. There is a fundamental contradiction. If death is real, then it has to be experienced. If it isn't real, then it won't be a part of your experience. Either ways, the whole idea of death seems to be very contradictory. But philosophically, this is as far as we can get. We can keep on playing around this idea, figure out different ways of explaining it, but we can never solve this problem. Up until now, the only way we have solved this problem is inside an individual. When an individual goes on an inward journey and experientially realizes that moment when consciousness is in its absolute original pure pristine state, when it is not attached to an excited state, thoughts, when it is not attached to an altered state, the body, that is the moment an individual has described as a moment of awakening, a moment of enlightenment, the kingdom of heaven, nirvana, Tao, the all-seeing eye. It has always happened as a subjective direct experience. The evidence of it is in the scriptures. But how does this make sense? How can an individual who has not experienced this state make sense of it? You are putting him in a very uncomfortable position. You're telling him, this is the ultimate experience that has happened to this person. If you don't believe this, then your life has no meaning. Your life has no purpose. But if you believe it, you are stuck with an idea that you can do nothing about. Now, this is the problem of religion. Religion says, this is the meaning, this is the purpose, this man is your purpose. He came for you. If you don't believe, then you're lost. But if you believe, you did not find yourself, you are lost in an idea now. You are stuck with this man's experience. He ascended to heaven. He transcended. He went to heaven along with his body. What do I do with that? You are presenting me with an idea without any framework of understanding it, and you're asking me to come to a place to talk about it, to think about it, to sing it, but you're not explaining anything. You're not explaining what does this mean to me. Because there is no way to explain. We did not have a framework. Once we understand what consciousness is, then we have a framework of understanding all these things. Hey, this is just a higher dimensional entity. And thoughts are just excitations in this conscious realm. Now, when a particular thought is watched, that is what we recognize as a moment of life. And this is not some esoteric, deep, mystical, or a scientifically complicated process that is happening somewhere. You're doing this every moment. Every moment, you are watching something. And when you're not watching it, it isn't there. That is how simple reality is. Reality is a perceived reality. When you're watching something, that interaction, that choosing, is actualizing a state. Now, if you have to understand the nature of consciousness, the fundamental reality of this expansive realm, you should stop actualizing states. You should move inward from an actualized state, the body, to the excited state, the world of thoughts, and you have to be there for a while. And then ultimately get to that conscious center where there are no thoughts, where there is no body. This is the process that you have to go through to be able to experience it. Now, this is the meaning of being saved. This is the meaning of reaching the kingdom of heaven. This is the meaning of nirvana, liberation. Now, how does this compare to ideas of heaven and hell? We can clearly see, where do we get these ideas of heaven and hell from? It's because we did not have a scientific framework, and without understanding this experience of liberation of an individual, we don't know what we are doing in life. So hence, we created ideas around this experience to go and visit it once in a while. Okay, I'm going to go and touch base with this transcendental idea once a week so that I can be saved. And because this idea exists, there are people to take advantage of this idea. Oh, this is what people want. They want to be saved. We also don't know how to save ourselves. Let's build a church. Let's talk about saving. Let's talk about saving the whole of humanity. No direction, no understanding, no reference framework, no practices. It's all a confusing mess. This is why it is so important to establish consciousness as an objective fact, a higher dimensional entity, because sooner or later we will be able to understand many things that were totally hidden from us. And a religious experience, a spiritual experience, a mystical experience is just one part. If we can figure out what consciousness is, then we can also guide people to how to experience it.